How's it going, everyone? This is Midnight Strike, and I am back again to do a retrospect on the concert I went to 2 days ago in Mill City Nights on September 30th, and it's going to be a concert with Tremonti and Trivium that I'm going to be talking about. So, Tremonti and Trivium were playing at Mill City Nights, and I figured, hey, I've never seen Tremonti, even though my girlfriend's not into them. Trivium is also playing as well, and she absolutely adores Trivium ever since first seeing them live last year in the same spot. Lo and behold, same spot. So we already knew the layout. We already knew kind of where it was. We already knew the layout inside of the building too, and just the size and where they have everything set up. Or so we thought. They had it set up differently this year, but oh well. Basically, with this year, the setup is what I'm going to talk about first before getting into the main music aspect of it, because really you got to work your way up. With the setup last year, they had it set up almost perfectly. They had a bar downstairs, so basically if there was something playing that you didn't like, you just go downstairs and you could still kind of hear it a little bit, but you could also go downstairs, get a drink of soda, of liquor, of whatever you wanted, and talk to bands that had already played, because they were down there selling their merchandise. And really, it wasn't set up in such a line format, because this year they had it all set up upstairs. There was no downstairs. It was all set up upstairs. There were two bars this time instead of just one, so I figured, I suppose maybe they have the ability to serve more people. And the drinks, oh my god, the drinks are phenomenal. They were like $13. Yeah, I know. It's fucking insane for price-wise. I wouldn't do it again, but the drinks are amazing. I mean, I've never made a drink like that. It was just a freaking Captain Coke, but he made it so perfectly. I don't know what he did, but two of them got me pretty good, pretty well off. And then I had a third. Well, the third was a single, but still, I mean, he made them really strong. I mean, it was like that much alcohol and that much soda, and it didn't taste like shit. I mean, if I were to do that, I'd be pitching it right there, throwing it in the sink, I can't do that, but for some reason the bartender could, so props to him. But the pricing was just insane and out of control, so I guess I wouldn't probably do that again. But back to the setup. The setup is set up in a way where there's a bar downstairs in the main concert area, not downstairs in the basement area like it was last year. It's down by the concert area, so you can just kind of walk and you can get your drink while still looking up at the stage, if you can still see it, of course, because you're downstairs. You could still see the bands play, you could still hear them in full force, and grab your drink. Otherwise, you could go up in the rafters, and there's still a bar up there as well. Not as many people go there, but that's where I went, and he makes the best fucking drinks ever. So, like I said, props to him. He's awesome. Basically, with that, you have the rafters. You can get a full-on aerial view of the band. That's where we usually sit or stand. A little over on the left-hand corner up in the rafters, so we get a clear view of the band, and we are close enough to where we feel like we're practically not necessarily in the pit or in the mosh pit area, but we're close enough to where we can see pretty much everything. So that's what I like about Mill City Nights. It's like wherever you stand, you have a very good view of the band. And that just rhymes. So wherever you stand, you have a very good view of the band. You have a very good view of their playing. You don't necessarily need a jumbotron, even though there are very small TVs. If you're far back enough, there are very small TVs that you can look at and see the band play in full force anyways, even though you can see them right in front of you, but that's a different matter entirely. So with the merchandise issue, this is probably my least favorite part about the way they had it set up, aside from the Tremonti meet and greet, so I'll get to that in a little bit. The merchandise, the way they had it set up was, I suppose maybe they weren't expecting many people. There weren't many people at first, but then as people started pouring in, the crowd got bigger and bigger. There was about as many people as there were last year, so I don't know why they didn't have the downstairs set up. With that, they had the merchandise in a straight line with a railing, and there was only enough room for a thin line of people, so you had to wait in line in order to buy merchandise. Usually in all the other concerts that I've been to, including the one at Mill City Nights, you could just walk up and buy something. Maybe there was like 2 or 3 people in a line, but it wasn't like a line of 20 people waiting to get their Tremonti shirt so they can get the ticket for the meet and greet, because if you buy one thing for Tremonti, you can meet him. You can shake his hand, you can get stuff signed. The only thing is, you can't get his picture because of the way it's set up. And I think that's probably one of the worst parts about the way it's set up, is that you can't get pictures, you have to wait in line. And if they had the downstairs area available where everyone could just kind of freely go here and there wherever they want and, you know, buy merchandise, go shake Mark's hand and all that stuff, I think it would be a lot easier to get a picture. I think it would be a lot easier to get a shirt. I think it would be just more fluid, I suppose. I didn't really like how it was set up in that regards, but I did like the fact that the bars were very close to the music. Now, I didn't drink last year because of the fact that my girlfriend was pregnant at the time, and I told her, you know, I'm not going to drink because I respect, you know, I out of respect for you, because you can't do it, so I'm not going to either. Now, the only time I actually did drink was communion wine when I meant to take grape juice. Shame on me, right? So yeah, this is a very, very interesting thing to actually get drunk at a concert, I suppose. So, on to the music. The first band that played was Wilson, and I actually have their CD right here. Very good. They're good. They're better live because they're a lot heavier, of course. Like Emergent was a lot heavier live. This band is definitely a lot heavier live, and they're a lot more in your face. Their actual music, though, I could have sworn I heard it somewhere. I mean, it seems like they're using some of the same riffs as other bands, but I just can't put my finger on it. They add kind of their own little twist to it and tweak the melody just enough to where it's their own. Right to Rise and, not Windows Down. I gotta look at the, Crave. No, All My Friends. That's the one. Right to Rise and All My Friends. They sound very familiar. I don't know. Right to Rise has a little bit of a southern rock twist to it. The entire album actually basically has kind of that hard rock, southern rock twist to it. They sound a little bit more metal live, but that guy has some pipes. I'm going to say that guy has some pipes. You know, if he's not on a professional label, he should be. And I know I said that about Emergent as well. They're making their second album while Right to Rise is Wilson's second album, but both of these bands deserve some fame, deserve some recognition. I will say that on many occasions. So, I don't know what the deal is with that. Wilson was a great starting band, and they played a few songs and then led into Tremonti. You know, they played more than Emergent did and Starset last year because, you know, they had to share the band with a little bit more underground bands, I guess. 2 underground bands and then Trivium instead of 2 mainstay acts and then Wilson. So Wilson was kind of the third wheel, but I did really enjoy them a lot, and I bought their album specifically because of that. So on to Tremonti, the main show, the main cream of the crop in my opinion, the reason why I went to see the show, even though I was wearing a Trivium shirt at the time from my previous time. So the reason I went to the show was to see Tremonti, and oh my god, did he kick ass. He was amazing. In every sense of the word. They opened up with Cauterize, and it sounded exactly like it did in the studio, with the exception of maybe some improv guitar solos here and there, which he definitely did in the song So You're Afraid, and You Waste Your Time, he did some improv. I really like that when bands throw something unique, throw something fresh in there, just to kind of mix it up a little bit, switch it up, and make it sound different. And Tremonti definitely did that. He's a master at guitar, and it definitely shows his versatility with his ability to perform in really commercial bands, really awesome hard rock bands, and then his own heavy metal act. So kudos to Tremonti. Really love the guy. Got to meet him. I actually got this hoodie for $50, of course. You know, usually hoodies are $50, but I got a little ticket to go and meet the entire band. Like I said, the thing is set up to where it's just a straight line. You go through, you get your shit signed, you maybe say hi, you can't really have a full-blown conversation with them or get a picture, which was very disappointing. However, this is my ticket right here. Not just a random piece of paper, Logan. I got it signed on the back because it was the only thing that I had. If I could get it opened right here. I didn't know which way it opened. So I got it signed. That big-ass signature right there is Mark Tremonti's. You know, and of course everyone else. I don't like singling out Mark Tremonti and not mentioning the rest of the band. You know, Eric Friedman. And I know Brian Marshall isn't in there anymore. Wolfgang Van Halen is in the band. However, he wasn't performing tonight. But I don't like just mentioning Mark Tremonti. Everyone else was perfect, too. The guitars were spot on. The bass was great. Actually, I think the bassist or the guitarist, I gave him a thumbs up. It wasn't Mark Tremonti, though, not that guitarist. But I gave the bassist a thumbs up. And he gave me a thumbs up back and nodded at me. So it was pretty good to get that recognition again, just like when Trivium, when Matt Heafy pointed at my girlfriend when she was the only one that didn't have her hands up in the air. He pointed at her and nodded his head and smiled, and she put her hand up in the air right away. So, and then she just kept saying, he recognized me. Oh my gosh, you know, and yeah, he did. That was awesome. That was fun. So I really like it when bands recognize their fans and, you know, definitely care about them. Trivium definitely showed that by stopping the song Throes of Perdition to make sure that someone who had had a little bit too much to drink was okay. And he definitely showed a genuine concern for his fans' safety. So I really appreciate that. He's a genuine, heartfelt guy. He's done it before last year, made sure that everyone's okay. And he's not afraid to stop a song to make sure that he's doing that. So kudos to Matt Heafy for that. Kudos to Mark Tremonti, as well as everyone else in the band. Got to meet you guys. You guys were really, really down to earth, really awesome. Mark, been listening to you since I was 10. I know I probably sounded like an idiot. I was a little bit on the wasted side of things when I talked to you. If you're listening to this, I doubt it, but hope I didn't make too big of a fool of myself. I was kind of kicking myself in the head for that, you know, kicking myself in the ass for that. But, you know, if I didn't make a fool of myself, great. If I did, whatever. You're probably not even going to remember me. So, yeah. I wish they would have had it set up downstairs, though, because downstairs I actually got to have a casual conversation with Emergent about, like, the state of the record industry and the state of bands in general getting signed to labels and why they're not, like, way up there, while some of the bands that are popular are just shit. Didn't get to do that with Tremonti. I wish I would have. Wish it would have been downstairs, because then maybe I could have had, like, some questions ready for an impromptu interview or something, maybe. But it is what it is. I suppose I'm just glad I got to meet him. And then Trivium, I gotta say, for a guy that blew out his voice last year and came out with a brand new studio album with just singing, I gotta say they're doing a very good job. I mean, yeah, Matt Heafy isn't screaming. I didn't really hear him scream really that much at all. I mean, here and there he would, but not really that much at all. And really the only time where it was noticeable was on the songs like In Waves, where he was supposed to be the one screaming. But on songs where Corey does some of the screaming, like on Down From the Sky, it sounded absolutely perfect. I mean, even songs where he didn't scream, or where Corey didn't scream and Matt screamed, it sounded pretty good. I mean, they did a very, very good improvising on that regard. But with the fact that Matt Heafy, can he sing? Can his voice still hold up to previous material after blowing out his voice? Well, yes and no. I mean, there are some very, very few instances where I said, well, his voice is kind of wavy, his voice is kind of a little shaky and, you know, cracking a little bit, but few and far between. Matt Heafy is an amazing vocalist. Trivium is a phenomenal band. Yes, I didn't really enjoy Silence in the Snow as much as I did Vengeance Falls and their previous work, with the exception of The Crusade, but I do love seeing them live, and they do put on a very good show. They're very good musicians, and I would go see them again in a heartbeat. I don't care what they release. I would go see them. They are amazing. So, for a band, or for a singer that blew out his voice last year, they're doing a very good job. And I definitely did want to point out the fact that the variety, the variation in the songs is very good, is spot on, because last year they played maybe 3/4 of the stuff from Ascendancy and In Waves. Yes, those are my two favorite albums, but I would really love to hear some Shogun. I would really love to hear some more off Ember to Inferno, even though they did play that song, but I digress. I would really love to hear some more stuff off of their other albums. They didn't even play anything from the Crusade that year. This year they played Becoming the Dragon and We Are the Fire, which Anthem We Are the Fire, if I didn't say it in any of my reviews, back in 2010 was the first song I heard by Trivium. When I was loading music on my Xbox 360, my friend Andrew, Chaotic Spider, was like, you gotta listen to this band. You love Metallica, you love All That Remains and Disturbed and all this stuff, you have to listen to this band. He put on Anthem We Are the Fire, and I was instantly hooked. Even though I don't like the rest of the album as much, I was hooked from then on, and In Waves just got me set on getting the rest of their material. So, this is a very, very, I want to say, interesting song for me, or ceremonial song. I don't know what the word is, but it's a very good song, and they definitely performed it live very well. One of the times where I think that he could have worked on his vocals a little bit for Matt Heafy is Down from the Sky. It sounded okay. I mean, it sounded good, but he doesn't have that grit or that rasp anymore. And maybe that's just because of his voice, because he performed it last year and it was very good. So I don't know what it is. I would have definitely liked to hear more off of Vengeance Falls. They only played one song. I would have loved to hear some Ember to Inferno, and maybe a little bit more from Shogun. I mean, they played 2 songs, yeah, but they just played such a variety of different songs. I preferred the set list to this year, I think, as opposed to last year, just because of the fact that they performed a lot of different songs off of different albums, versus just, hey, these are our 2 best albums, let's just perform a whole set list of this and draw it out, you know? Even though they're my 2 favorites too, I do see a lot of more variety this year. So, one thing also that I didn't like, and Billy Casper, also, when I met him in person, yes, there's a picture on my Facebook, said this, but one thing I don't like is bands charging you money to meet them. It's like, hey, I'm worth enough, so I'm a human being, and I'm going to charge another human being to stand in close proximity with me, because I am worth money, basically. And you know what Billy said makes a lot of sense, you know, where it's the label that does it. And knowing Roadrunner Records, knowing WMG, and the way they act, even on YouTube, I could see that. They're not really known for being the best kind of people. So, I can see that. I don't really blame Trivium anymore, especially after talking with him. By the way, he's a really nice guy. I got to give him a shout out to Billy's Metal Militia. That's what his channel name is. Billy Casper. You can find him if you search on YouTube. Pretty good reviewer. He's gotten really good over time. He's gotten better over time. His early reviews are alright, but I think he's gotten a lot better. Really nice guy, really enthusiastic, and he didn't know where a good burger joint was. That's what I gotta say. That's the only bad thing I have to say about you, Billy, is you did not know where to find a good burger. No, just kidding, man. I asked him like 8 times where to find food, and I was a little bit on the drunk side, so like I said, you know. But all in all, really, really phenomenal night. Awesome time. Me and my girlfriend just went to Perkins afterwards, and I had my burger with onions on it, and it was awesome. So, really fun time, really great drinks, great people, and I love it. So I'm going to be doing maybe a few retrospects on my earlier reviews, maybe like Season 1, Season 2, as well as my discography reviews, because a lot of my opinions have changed. And I do want to put that in retrospect and watch all of my earlier reviews just to see how much my opinion has changed. So I will put that in the playlist as well, like my retrospect on my Trivium reviews, because even in my Trivium discography, a lot of my opinions have changed. My Killswitch discography, a few have changed. Tool, not so much, because I haven't really listened to them as much since that point, but you get my point. A lot of my opinions have changed. So, with that, awesome concert, and this has been my retrospect of Trivium and Tremonti. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.